Coming up on OC News, the California special elections is in the books. We have your latest updates and reactions from local voters. Plus, Los Angeles County just tightened its COVID restrictions. Find out where you'll need your vaccine card to visit.
And later, we check in with all things Cal State Fullerton sports. OC News starts right now.
This just in tech news. The first responder on
There's been a lot of collaborative efforts
feel
over the years.
blessed to be here in Fullerton.
Brought to you by the broadcast journalism students at Cal State Fullerton.
OC News starts right now.
Welcome to OC News. Thank you for joining us for the busy news day. I'm Samantha Aguilar.
And I'm Vanessa Castaneda. OC News is brought to you by the broadcast journalism students at Cal State Fullerton. The California recall elections closed Tuesday afternoon, and the results confirmed Governor Gavin Newsom will stay in office. Results showed about 64% of Californians voted for Newsom to stay, while 36% voted for his removal. The statewide recall, led by Larry Elder, a conservative radio host, came to a close Tuesday afternoon. Elder's campaign and other California voters claimed Newsom's victory was a result of voter fraud. This morning, Newsom criticized statements made regarding a rigged election and thanked Californians for their support. The top contender against Governor Newsom, Larry Elder, gave a consensus speech last night in Costa Mesa. The Republican candidate thanked his supporters.
But I want to thank the volunteers who knocked on doors, who called people, who emailed people. We had over 100,000 people who contributed to our campaign.
Today is the day following the historic recall election result. Results are in, and the California voters have spoken. Our reporter Brisa Colon is out on OC polling place to give us the final results, latest numbers, and more information about the Orange County and how they voted. Brisa?
Yes, hello Samantha and Vanessa. I am here live at the Orange County Registrar's office where people have been coming here to vote for days and results are in. Gavin Newsom has survived the recall attempt and will remain in his position in office. He won by a relatively wide margin of 63% to 36% that voted to recall. You know, as of midnight last night, according to the Secretary of State's office, 52% voted no on the recall here in OC and 47% voted to recall, a much smaller margin here in Orange County. I talked to voters and opinions are strong and emotions are high.
It's not about red or blue, it's not about Democrat or Republican. We got an incompetent individual running the state and he's got to go.
I don't see anybody better than what we have right now.
This Newsom recall petition was first introduced February of 2020. And all of the efforts of the petitioners have led to this historic election that took place yesterday.
Well, it's important because I'm an American citizen and it's my duty to vote. And I am supporting Newsom as a governor because I think he's doing a great job for California and not for just one group of people, but for all of us.
We need to recall a person who's damaging our state.
In the state of California, 5.8 million people voted no and 3.2 million voted yes on the recall. As of last night at 8 p.m., 127,549 people voted in person in Orange County. This number is not including all of the mail-in and drop-off ballots. In Orange County, Larry Elder had a comfortable lead of votes for choices of another candidate with 57%.
I like Larry Elder.
Larry Elder.
For many, this election was their first chance to vote. For 18-year-old Ray Diaz, it was his first time voting.
I wouldn't want to see California turn into another Texas or Florida.
Newsom had this to say after hearing the results of the election.
Thank you all very much, and thank you to 40 million Americans, 40 million Californians, and thank you for rejecting this recall.
Back out here live, voters that voted to recall Newsom told me that they were very optimistic but knew it was going to be an uphill battle. And those that voted no, well, are pleased with the results. That's all for me here at the Orange County Registrar's office. I'm Brisa Colon for OC News. Back to you in the studio.
Multiple left-leaning clubs at Cal State Fullerton organized an event on campus that was encouraging voters to reject the recall. We bring you Philip Pejchinovich, who is on the scene.
Students for Quality Education, Brian E. Hunt Collective, and the Progressive Club have set up a stand here
near the TSU building where they're trying to convince students to vote no on the recall.
Those who chose to stop by could grab buttons, signs, and learn about the clubs involved, but most importantly, they're given reasons to consider voting no on the recall.
Having a Republican governor who has emphasized on day one that they intend to repeal the mask and vaccine mandate is absolutely detrimental, and it unequivocally puts our community at risk. And we also can't neglect to take into consideration the fact that this is a far-right push that is heavily motivated by anti-immigrant sentiment.
Along with other club members, Sylvester Annie Jr., who's running for California's 38th congressional district, also arrived to show his support.
Because with Gavin Newsom, we have the opportunity to move him on some progressive policies. And with Larry Elder, that's going to set back so much of the work that organizers have been putting in.
While my camera was turned away, one individual was recorded by club members. He expressed disapproval that they did not condemn Larry Elder's egging on their social media.
I know, the left doesn't actually care about minorities the second you disagree with them. I know. So nothing, guys? Nothing at all? Doesn't matter when that black man gets hurt or attacked?
The event is called March to the Polls, and initially they intended on bringing those that wanted to vote no in the gubernatorial election to this mailbox here on campus near Nutwood Avenue. Unfortunately, because the deadline for voting is so close, many people have already voted online, or they just don't have their ballots to do something like that. So instead, the clubs decided to stay as a table. Back to the studio.
Stay tuned to find out the latest on vaccination requirements.
And how a misdiagnosis almost tore a family apart.
Today, Los Angeles County announced vaccination requirements for many popular attractions. Dr. Barbara Ferrer announced earlier today that either proof of vaccination or a negative COVID test would be required for indoor bars, nightclubs, breweries, and lounges. Ferrer is also setting a mandate for both customers and employees for their indoor locations to be fully vaccinated by November 4th. This comes as the number of COVID cases have increased with a weekly average of 500 new cases in both LA and OC County. LA's new health order will begin later this week.
Earlier today, former Olympic gymnasts Simone Biles, Ali Raisman, and others testified against former team doctor Larry Nassar. Nassar has been sentenced to prison, but the athletes are frustrated with how the FBI handled the case. Despite first learning of accusations against Nassar in 2015, the FBI failed to quickly respond to a recent investigation published by the Department of Justice revealed that FBI agents initially failed to act with seriousness and urgency. Biles, Raisman, and other former Olympians voiced their frustration today with testimonies.
They had legal, legitimate evidence of child abuse
Nassar is
and did nothing.
Currently serving
I
a
felt
minimum
pressured by
of
the
40
FBI to consent to Nassar's plea deal.
I blame Larry Nassar, and I also blame an entire system.
Why? Why would the FBI agents lie to OIG investigators?
An Anaheim family wants answers after doctors miss a critical diagnosis of their newborn baby. Chris Elder has the story.
Heather Garcia holds her 3-month-old baby Jonah a little closer today after a rare diagnosis had Jonah in emergency surgery at just 7 days old. Jonah was born with malrotation with volvulus, malrotation affecting intestinal positioning, and volvulus twisting the bowel and killing it as a result.
To the best of our knowledge, there's absolutely nothing that a mother can do to prevent malrotation. During very, very early development, the intestines actually develop outside the abdomen. They start out as just a little string that then sort of grows into a loop and becomes more and more complex. And then it sort of twists and settles into its normal location. But very early on in the first trimester of pregnancy, if that process doesn't happen just perfectly, that's when you get the abnormalities.
The Garcias say the Providence St. Jude Medical Center in Fullerton owes them an explanation after misdiagnosing their son, even though their prenatal physician suspected a bowel blockage on an earlier routine ultrasound. Heather was sent for additional imaging, but no malrotation was seen, and the lack of follow-up is where Jonah's parents say their physicians were negligent.
But I remember waking up from the little brief naps that I would take in between feeding Jonah, and he had vomit all over his blanket, and it was a neon bright yellow, and I have never seen that before either. So, right away we brought this over to the nurse. We even showed her the actual blanket.
After 2 nights at the St. Jude Neonatal Intensive Care Unit, Jonah was transferred to Children's Hospital of Orange County, where he was almost immediately diagnosed with volvulus. Pediatric surgeon David Gibbs saying that every second counted.
You can lose the majority of your intestines in 8 hours. And in some cases, that's incompatible with life. And another tragedy happens when the intestines are lost, but then the baby survives for a period of time before ultimately succumbing.
Although baby Jonah's surgery was successful, his month-long recovery in the hospital was trying and difficult to witness for his parents. Jonah may not remember his valiant stay hooked up to wires and feeding tubes, but those images are imprinted on Jonah's father, Ezekiel, who feels let down by who he trusted the most.
So I took the doctor's word for it all the way until we came home, and he was still spitting up, and I was like, there's no way this could be normal. So at that point is when I figured, okay, something's definitely going on.
Like the Garcias, Megan Glover found herself lost after her newborn son Camden was diagnosed with volvulus 6 years ago. She founded the Intestinal Malrotation Foundation with a mission of educating the world about this rare disease.
When a parent or a mother or a caregiver comes in frantic saying, my child is sick, they need to be heard. They need to be heard. And these providers need to understand the hallmark symptoms because they're very telling, to at least look for this condition because it is so life-threatening. And you're absolutely right. With appropriate education, leaving the hospital, if parents are armed with that, they're able to advocate for themselves and their children if they see some of these symptoms arise.
In Anaheim for OC News, I'm Chris Adler.
Something slithered into the Anaheim Convention Center last weekend. A lot of something, actually. OC News' Christian Davis was on the scene to take us into the reptile room.
They're big. They're colorful. And they were all the rage this weekend. It's the Reptile Super Show, one of the largest reptile breeding conventions in the world. Why do some people find these reptiles so enticing? Just ask Carla Gallardi, a gecko breeder who's running her first booth this year.
It's more of a hobby. I got a gecko right out of high school, so I just figured, why not?
But it's more than just a fun pastime for some. For people like Nick Cruikshank at the Snake Country booth, it means money. Big money.
So the more genes that you can get that'll be visual, the better. Our most expensive snake, those can range from $5,000 to $25,000.
For Jerry, an employee of the Painted Reptile, it's a bit of both.
This is technically my first job. I started when I was 16. I used to go all the time when I was younger. I love it.
For some here, the reptiles mean big business. For others, they mean a fun home hobby. But for everyone here, the community represents a much-needed return to normalcy.
There's still a lot that's unknown. Will they shut down the shows again? I've always attended them, so not going for the last year and a half has kind of sucked.
But for today, it was all scales and smiles. Christian Davis for OC News.
When OC News returns, find out who won big during the MTV Video Music Awards.
Plus, see how former Cal State Fullerton student started her own small business.
Observe a domesticated human family in their natural habitat, known to their species as the backyard.
Hey, you think I should light it now?
I think it's good.
Yeah?
Oh dear, someone is about to burn a pile of debris that's too tall, which can start a wildfire. Wait, could it be? Blimey, it is.
It's Smokey.
It's Smokey Bear. What a legend.
Hey, it's Smokey. Sorry, it was too high. Right.
Watch as he astutely ensures that there's no wind, and how he removes some of the debris to create a smaller, safer burning pile.
No, you said make it bigger, baby. The bigger, the better.
Take note of our fearless furry friend here, humans.
I appreciate it. Fist bump.
Watching you.
Smokey's done it again.
Bye, Smokey.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
The NFL is back in full swing. Plus, a look at Cal State Fullerton athletics. Brianna Ship is here to recap this week's sports.
Thank you, Samantha. Hi, everyone. My name is Brianna Ship, and welcome to OC News Sports. I have all the important updates and news happening in the sports world. Let's get into it.
Take the field.
Football is back. The NFL just had their first week of league games.
Question protocol for the rest of that game.
Right here is going to be the spot. Somebody over this middle of the ball, right here.
Start against the Browns.
It's Kelsey. Kelsey reaches for the touchdown. We're going Hunt. Trying to find a seam, and he plows across. Touchdown, Cleveland.
What a play. Jimmy Haslam feels.
Local Los Angeles Chargers.
Third and goal. Goes the other direction. End zone.
However,
And it is caught. Mike
fans on the edge of their
Sig is the
seats.
snapper.
The Las
A.J.
Vegas
Cole to
Raiders
hold
came
it.
back to tie the game with a
From
55-yard
55
field
yards
goal
away.
with just seconds on the clock, sending it into overtime
Boom, to
against the
tie the
Baltimore
game.
Ravens.
Boom is right.
It was Raiders quarterback Derek Carr that threw a long pass to wide receiver Zay Jones to get the victory at their new home stadium. I think football fans are excited to see what happens in week 2. Another story in football this week was about Maya Shaka. Maya made history as being the first black woman to ref an NFL game. She was a line judge during the New York Jets and Carolina Panthers game. We are so excited to watch her journey in the NFL. Cal State Fullerton athletes are back in action. Our Titan baseball team is currently standing with a record of 20-35. Our men's soccer team has a record of 0-4-1, and our women's soccer team has a record of 1-6. It is still early in the season, and we wish our athletes the best of luck in their future games. Go Titans! I'm Brianna Ship with OC News. Back to you, Vanessa.
Speaking of Titans, one of our alumni turned their hobby into a small business. Reporter Jonathan Soto has the details.
From baking to sticker making, many tapped into their hobbies and started online businesses during the COVID-19 pandemic. Recent Cal State Fullerton alumni, 23-year-old Natalie Lopez, did just that.
Simple Stones started literally as a hobby. During the pandemic, I was at home, I had nothing to do, going crazy. I first started with the wire-wrapped rings, the infamous rings. And from there, just blew up on social media.
Due to her love for crystals and marketing, she has been able to grow Simple Stones from 0 followers to more than 2,000 followers since she started back in January of 2021. And she has her alma mater to thank.
But we did a lot of projects and proposals on businesses, and a lot of it had to do with small businesses too. So that really paved the way on how I look at things in terms of analytics.
Simple Stones is a one-woman show, but she does get constant help and support from her parents and friends.
Well, she just asked me to help her at her first pop-up, which was in Claremont, and I just went to help her.
So what started as a hobby for Natalie has become a fast-growing small business. You could catch her almost every weekend at a flea market just like this one, selling her very famous rings and necklaces.
I fell in love with everything. I had to buy so much. I went off. I got this jade ring, gold as well to match the bracelet. Everything's just gold and cute.
Although she enjoys running her own business and meeting customers at flea markets, Natalie plans to go back to school to pursue her lifelong dream of becoming an attorney.
I always wanted to be an attorney, and that's what I said, that I was going to go to law school, which is still something I'm trying to pursue. And right now I am in the process of applying and taking my LSATs.
Law school in a small business seems like a lot to handle, but Natalie is optimistic for what the future holds. I'm Jonathan Soto in Whittier, reporting for OC News.
Looks great, Jonathan. While you're here, why don't you give us the rundown on what everyone's favorite celebrities have been up to?
Thank you, Samantha. Hi, everyone. My name is Jonathan Soto, and welcome to OC Entertainment. I have all the important updates and news happening in the entertainment world. Let's get into it. Kim Kardashian, Gigi Hadid, Billie Eilish, Rihanna, and more attended the fashion industry's party of the year, the Met Gala in New York, Monday night. After postponing last year's Met due to the COVID-19 pandemic, celebrities were excited to be on the red carpet in their designer gowns. The fundraiser supports the Metropolitan Museum of Art's Costume Institute. The theme this year, In America, a Lexicon of Fashion. This year's installation is a two-part museum exhibition, with the second part being next year's Met Gala, In America, an Anthology of Fashion. Who wasn't at the Met? Kylie Jenner, the 24-year-old billionaire, recently confirmed via social media that she is pregnant. This is her second baby with rapper Travis Scott. In the video, we see her in her early stages of her pregnancy, and of course, we couldn't forget about the always adorable Stormi. Stormi baby! The video ends with the little one kissing her mom's growing belly. For now, this is all Kylie has shared with us. Jenner kept her first pregnancy a secret and did not share the news until 3 days before giving birth in February of 2018. Will she do the same this time around? Sunday night was not only a night to celebrate music, but also MTV's birthday. It was 40 years ago that MTV first aired and has left its mark in the music industry. Female rapper Doja Cat was not only a performer for the night, but also the host of the show. The night's biggest winner was Olivia Rodrigo, taking home 3 Moon Mans, including Best New Artist and Song of the Year for her hit single Driver's License. Among other winners were Harry Styles, Justin Bieber, SZA, and more. Lil Nas X won the biggest award of the night for Video of the Year for his controversial hit single, Call Me By Your Name. It was an unforgettable night that will have many talking for days. So much happened in Hollywood this week, and it's only Wednesday. That's all I have for you today. Back to you, Vanessa.
Thank you for joining us here on OC News. I'm Vanessa Castaneda.
And I'm Samantha Aguilar. Don't forget to follow OC News on all our social media platforms at OC News CSUF. From all of us here at OC News, have a good night.